let's talk about how to create a really good thesis statement. First off, a thesis statement, according to dictionary.com, is a short statement, usually one sentence that summarizes the main point or claim of an essay, research paper, etc., and is developed, supported, and explained in the text by means of examples and evidence. Another way to think about this is that the thesis statement is the backbone to any academic paper. Everything after the introduction paragraph should relate back to the thesis statement in one way or another. And without a thesis statement, an academic paper, no matter how well it's written, is going to flounder and struggle. In most cases, the thesis statement will be found at the end of the introduction paragraph. But regardless of where the thesis statement is in your paper, the reader should be able to identify it very easily. It should be crystal clear and it should shout and scream, "I'm the thesis statement." But how do you create a good thesis statement? This is a question that many beginning college writers struggle with. On one hand, it's really easy for a writer to come up with some sort of statement about what their paper's about, but that does not mean that that is a well done thesis statement. So what separates a good thesis statement from just an average or a poor thesis statement? Let's jump over to the Allen and Bacon Guide to Writing 7th edition. They introduced the idea of tension and using the concept of surprising reversal to create tension in your thesis statement. Here's what the text says. Another element of surprising thesis is tension. By tension, we mean the reader's sensation of being pulled away from familiar ideas toward new and unfamiliar ones. And that's probably the key here, right? No matter what your topic is or the subject that you're writing about, make sure that you are coming at it from a new, fresh angle, some sort of point of view that hasn't been written about before. The text continues. A strategy for creating this tension, a strategy we call surprising reversal, is to contrast your surprising answer or new information to a question with your target audience's common answer, which creates tension between your own thesis statement and one or more alternative views. The following formula is paramount in separating a good thesis from a poor average thesis. The text presents this. Many people believe X, which is the common view, but I'm going to show you Y, which is the new or surprising view. The text continues to show how you can set this formula up with the word although. So essentially the formula becomes, although X, I'm going to talk about Y. Or as I like to teach it, although X, I'm going to talk about A, B, and C. One strategy in developing a really well done thesis is to set it up using this exercise. First, you're going to pose the question. What's the topic that you're looking at? Second, you're going to look at thesis without tension. Make it pretty plain, straightforward, what you normally think of as a traditional thesis statement. Third, you'll want to write your thesis with tension following the formula of although X, I'm going to talk about A, B, and C. For instance, the text provides these examples. The first example, their question, what effect has the cell phone had on our culture? The thesis without tension, the invention of the cell phone has brought many advantages to our culture. That's technically a thesis statement, but it's a pretty boring thesis statement that doesn't get your reader excited to read your paper. To develop a good thesis statement, you're going to want to become a lot more specific. Here's how they set up a thesis with tension using the although X, I'm going to talk about ABC formula. Although the cell phone has brought many advantages to our culture, it may also have contributed to an increase in risky behavior among boaters and hikers. So hopefully you see in this example how there's probably already a lot of different papers or pieces out there written about the advantages of cell phones. That's not anything new, that's boring, that doesn't get the reader excited. However, if they tailor it to a specific audience, perhaps they're writing for some sort of outdoors magazine, or their audience is some sort of outdoor enthusiasts. That's why they got much more specific in targeting boaters and hikers and attaching this idea that cell phones promote risky behavior, which to that target demographic may be really interesting and captures their attention. In their second example, they provide the following question: do reservations serve a useful role in contemporary Native American culture? Good question. Now, their thesis without tension is going to be pretty bland, pretty straightforward. Reservations have good points and bad points. Super yawn. Snoozer, right? Let's look at what they did with thesis with tension in this regard using the formula. Although my friend Wilson Realbird believes that reservations are necessary for Native Americans to preserve their heritage, the continuation of reservations actually degrades Native American culture. Again, you're seeing the common viewpoint is that most people are going to argue that we need to keep Native American reservations because it helps keep intact their culture. However, what's new and what creates tension in this thesis is this argument that reservations are actually really bad for Native American culture. This gets the reader to say, whoa, wait a minute here, you're crazy. If a student came to me with this thesis statement, I would actually encourage them to develop it a bit further in the second half. They have the although part down, but then what's new, I would encourage them to get much more specific. They could revise the second half to this thesis statement by saying the continuation of reservations actually degrades Native American culture by doing A, B, and C. This thesis statement building exercise can work with any topic. I've created my own original example here. Question: is ice cream or cake better? Thesis without tension: ice cream is better than cake. Snoozer. My thesis with tension: although many people enjoy cake because of its aesthetic creativity and the association to events such as birthdays and anniversaries that traditionally accompany it, that's the first part of the formula. Here comes the second, which is new, what creates tension. Ice cream has proven far superior in a direct comparison to cake for several reasons, such as diversity in flavors, healthier options in the form of gelatos and sherbets, and its ability to hit several different taste receptors on the tongue. Hopefully this video has provided you with a couple of tools on how to develop a good thesis statement. We'll catch you next time.